Again, writing Rash Volume 1. What does it mean that the Torah was given out of the darkness in the work? Please let's read. Please, what does it mean that the Torah was given out of the darkness in the work? It is written in the Midrash sages, say the nations of the world did not receive the Torah, since it was given out of darkness. He says about them, for the darkness will cover the earth. So received the Torah since it was given out of darkness, as it's written, as you hear the voice out of the darkness. He says about them, the Lord will shine upon you and his glory will be seen upon you. We should understand why the Torah was given out of the darkness and why the nations of the world did not want to receive it out of the darkness. It is as though the Creator deliberately gave the Torah out of the darkness so the nations of the world would not receive it. We should also understand why Israel did receive the Torah out of the darkness. First, we need to know what is darkness in the work. The thing is that because the purpose of creation was to do good to his creations, when a person is satisfied with his life, it is considered that the world shines for that person, meaning he enjoys the world. But if he does not find satisfaction in life, he says, the world has grown dark on me. It is known that in the work we call the vessels, Opho Israel, and we call the vessels of reception the nations of the world. And when a person wants to draw near to the Creator, meaning use the vessels of bestow, but he cannot because the body disagrees with it, since his body extends from vessels of reception. At that time a person feels that the world has grown dark on him, for he understands that if he cannot obtain vessels of bestow, he will never be rewarded with the upper light, which is the light of doing good to his creations. It follows that the darkness he feels from not being able to obtain vessels of bestow by himself gives him the need that someone will help him attain those. Kim, according to the rule, there is no light without a cle, no filling without a lack. It follows that now he has received the need for the light of Torah. It is as our sages said, I've created the evil inclination, I've created the Torah as a spice. Thus the Torah is given specifically to the deficient, and that deficiency is called darkness. This is the meaning of the words the Torah was given out of darkness. That is one who feels darkness in his life because he has no vessels of bestow is fit to receive the Torah, so that through the Torah the light in it will reform him and he will obtain the vessels of bestow. Through them he will be able to, he will be fit to receive the delight and pleasure for those two are included in the Torah. 1. The cle that he wants to bestow. 2. Then he receives the delight and pleasure into the vessels. Conversely, the nations of the world did not receive the Torah. It was given out of the darkness of the in the work out of the darkness. The work the nations of the world means that the body comprises 70 nations that want the Torah not because they feel darkness when they have no vessels of bestow, rather their only desire is the vessels of reception, and they have no desire to emerge from that control. They want the Torah in order to add more light to themselves, meaning more pleasure than they receive from corporal matters. That is, they also want the next world, as it is written in the so they how as dogs have give us the wealth of this world and give us the wealth of the next world. That is, the wealth of this world is not enough for them, but they also want the wealth of the next world. Follows that the Torah was given specifically to those who feel that they will to receive controls. Then they cry out from the darkness that they needed Torah in order to deliver them from the darkness, that is the control of the vessels of reception on which there was a restriction and concealment so that no light will shine in that place, but that place is the cause for the need to receive the Torah. This reason, since the Torah came because of the darkness, the Torah did two things. One, the light in it reforms him, then the restriction and concealment depart from his vessels of reception, because where he had vessels of reception, he now has been rewarded with vessels of bestow. And this is the meaning of the words, and the Lord will shine upon you. That is, as the Creator wants to bestow, so man will be rewarded with a desire to bestow. 2, after has been rewarded with vessels of bowl, meaning he was granted the ability to work in Lishma for her sake, which is called learning Torah. Then he has shown the secrets of the Torah, as Rabbi Meir says. This is the meaning of the words. Then his glory will be seen upon you, meaning the glory of the Creator, which is the revelation of Golites. It will be seen upon you, for then one is rewarded with the Torah, and Israel and the Creator are one. However, the nations of the world which do not need the Torah in order to emerge from darkness, which are vessels of reception, but rather need the Torah in order to add the wealth of the next world to the wealth of this world, as was said, give, have these people who are in the state of nations of the world say that they do not need the Torah in order to deliver them from the darkness. For them they regard the vessels of reception for themselves as light. Rather, they want the light of Torah to come into the receiver. The verse says about them, for the darkness will cover the earth. That is, they will not be rewarded with the light of Torah, because the light of Torah was given out of darkness. In other words, one who feels that he's in the dark is regarded as Israel, who need the Torah in order to illuminate their darkness. They are rewarded with the Lord will shine upon you, and his glory will be seen upon you. Now we can understand what our sages said. It is not the learning that matters, but the work also. And they said they were asked this question, much learning or much work? Replied much work. Rabaka replied much learning. They all replied and said much learning. Since the learning leads to work, we should understand their words and the work, since the literal provides many interpretations to this in the work, meaning when we want to come to work in order to bestow and not receive for ourselves. Of course, we must observe the 6,113 commandments in actual fact, since one who learns Torah but does not want to observe the 613 practical commandments is learning knowledge the way one learns external teachings. It is our sages said, should one tell you there is knowledge in the nation, believe there is Torah in the nations. Do not believe. This means that a person can learn Torah, but if he's a Gentile who does not observe the commandments, which makes him a Gentile, then the Torah he's learning is called knowledge and not. For this reason, one who wants to work in order to bestow must begin to work in action, and then begin with the intention, meaning to place on it the aim to bestow. However, how can we achieve the aim to bestow, since it is known that a person can work under coercion, so his heart is not with him, that a person might be compelled to work against his will, and he can overcome his desire and do something against his will, yet changing the heart, meaning the desire and yearning. This a person cannot do, since man was created with the nature of receiving only for himself. How can he aim to bestow? This is against his nature. How can one work against his nature and desire, which is only to receive? Can he force himself to aim his heart with the intention to bestow? Moreover, we must know that the Torah was given in order to cleanse Israel. That is, all the actions he has given us to do our only in order to attain this aim to bestow. Thus how can we do the above, since there cannot be coercion of the heart and the desire interpreted which God has created to do, which God created means that it is about this that man must do on what he has created, and we should interpret which God has created to mean that creation is called existence from absence, referring to the will to receive to do pertains to the creatures who must place on it the aim to bestow. This means that all that the creatures must do is only to be able to aim to bestow. This is called which God has created to do. This doing belongs to the creatures. Accordingly we should interpret that the above words much learning or work do not concern work, that the ones must do clearly. Without work there is nothing, since first we must observe the 613 commandments in action. Rather we should interpret about the Torah itself. The Torah is called Talmud, learning. Thus the question much learning or much work means that the Torah speaks from 2 points of view. One from the perspective of the rules, meaning in which way we should observe the the commandments. There is the issue of the measure of the commandments. Take a T in the undergarment, for example. We must learn the rules of the Jewish law concerning the required size of the prayesh and undergarment, and likewise regarding the rest of the commandments. This is called the revealed part of the Torah, since these commandments are visible and you cannot say that a person makes mistakes. They're that which is visible. If a person pays attention, he can observe these commandments properly, and this is why it is called revealed. To the part of the Torah that does not speak of rules and laws that we keep in actions, but which speak of tales and legends of our sages, and have no connection to the 6,113 commandments. The question is what part of the Torah is greater, meaning more important to a person, and to which she should pay more attention. Learning refers to the part of the Torah that is only learning without work, since we are not speaking of the practical part, how to observe. This is called learning, meaning to without work. Says that work is greater. That is the part of the Torah that speaks of performing the mitzvah commandments, which is the main thing. To know the rules that apply to the commandments are abaka. Said that learning is great. Everyone answered and said as Thea much learning. And what is the reason for learning leads to work? We should interpret what they said, that learning leads to work. It means that while it is true that the beginning of the work is in the revealed part of the Torah, which speaks of the observance of the mit or the commandments, this is only the beginning, since the Torah and commandments were given primarily in order to cleanse people. This means, as it is written, that cleansing means emerging from the control of the will to receive for oneself and working only in order to bestow. This is called which God has created to do this work, which is done on creation, called receiving for oneself, to place the aim to bestow on it. This work is the main thing that the low ones should do in order to be able to receive the delight and pleasure that the Creator wants to give them in order to achieve a state of work, which means that a person should work only for the sake of the Creator and not for his own sake. Person can still overcome the revealed part in the 63 commandments by forcing himself to observe the 613 commandments. However, on the concealed part, which is the aim, the intention, which is something that is given to the heart, here a person cannot force himself. That is, if the heart does not want to work and love others, man is helpless in that state. When a person wants to work for the sake of the Creator and the body. Disagrees person realizes that he cannot work for the sake of the Creator himself. It follows that now the person has learned something new which he did not know before he began the work of bestow, that is, he is a complete wicked since he does not want to work for the sake of the Creator before he began the work of bestow. He also knew that he was still not working for the sake of the Creator. At that time he thought that he is not doing everything for the sake of the Creator only because of negligence and idleness, but he would succeed in doing everything for the sake of the Creator. The moment he would choose to. For this reason he was not concerned that he's not doing so. Now he could say it was for lack of time, but he's certain that it is within his power to do everything for the sake of the Creator. There's a rule that everything that a person can do does not concern him because he can always do this, and he attributes not having it only to the few others. Now that he has begun the work of bestow and has made great efforts, it sees that he's not progressing, and worse yet, after all the labor he has fallen into despair. Now he sees that the evil in him is so great that he decides that the work of bestow was not meant for him. This recognition is called wicked. That is, now he knows beyond any doubt that his body is unyielding and cannot be changed into working for the sake of the Creator, and he can convince it to do only reveal things in action and to do good deeds, yet his heart is not with him. Therefore only now can he determine that he has an evil inclination that is truly evil against the Creator, that he does not want to work for the Creator but only for himself. And when a person comes to that state, when he sees that he has evil inclination, you must believe that what R.S. just said, I've created the evil inclination, I have created the Torah as a spice, since fight in it reforms him. That is his being enslaved to the evil inclination when he was compelled to work for his own sake and not for the sake of the Creator. Now through the light of the Torah he is reformed and can work for the sake of the Creator, and this is called good deeds, meaning only to bestow upon the Creator and not for his own sake. Accordingly we see that it is impossible to bestow without the light of Torah. It follows that the part of the Torah the person learns which does not speak of rules and laws, this is called work, as it is written, much work, meaning the part of the Torah that discusses the doing of the commandments. And this is the meaning of much learning, meaning the part of the Torah that speaks of tales and legends and interpretations of our sages, etc. The part of the Torah that does not pertain to doing the commandments, and this is called learning. And they all said immediately, much learning, since learning leads to work. Here the meaning of work refers to the intention of the work which is regarded as the revealed. You will be able to aim the heart to work for the sake of the Creator, and this is called work, as it is written, which God has created to do. Doing refers to the heart, so that man will have the strength to work, so the heart will want to work for the sake of the Creator. The last part is especially very difficult, I would repeat again, but now that he's entered the work of pisto, do you have that? I'm looking for it, but now that he has begun the work of pisto and has made great efforts, it sees that he's not progressing yet after all the labor he has fallen into despair. Now he sees the evil in him is so great, right? So please continue. But now that he has began to work of Bol and has made great efforts, he sees that he is not progressing, and worse yet, after all the labor he has to despair. Now he sees that the evil in him is so great that he decides that the work of bestow was not. For him this recognition is called wicked, that is now he knows beyond any doubt that his body is unyielding and cannot be changed into working for the sake of the Creator. He can convince it to do only reveal things in action and to do good deeds, yet his heart is not with him. Therefore the only now he determines that he has an evil inclination that is truly evil against the Creator, that he does not want to work for the Creator but only for himself. When a person comes to that state, when he sees that he has evil inclination, he must believe what our sages said. I've created evil inclination, I've created the Torah as a spice, since the light in it reforms him, that is his being enslaved to the evil inclination when he was compelled to work for his own sake and not for the sake of the Creator. Now through the light of the Torah he's reformed and can work for the sake of the Creator. This is called good deeds, meaning only to bestow upon the Creator and not for his own sake. Accordingly we see that it is impossible to bestow without the light of Torah. It follows the path of the Torah that a person learns which does not speak of rules and laws. This is called work, as it is written, much work, meaning the part of the Torah that discusses the doing of the commandments, and this is the meaning of much learning, meaning the part of the Torah that speaks of tales and legends and interpretations of our sages, the part of the Torah that does not pertain to doing of the commandments, and this is called learning. And they all said immediately, much learning, since learning leads to work. Here in the meaning of work refers to the intention on the work which is regarded as the revealed, and he will be able to aim the heart to work for the sake of the Creator, and this is called work. It is written which God has created to do. Doing refers to the heart, so that man will have the strength to work, so the heart will want to work for the sake of the Creator. Moreover, hello friends, here in the article I see that in the 10 everything is wonderful, everyone is connected, is loving. It feels as if we're the end of correction, but in practice it turns out that we haven't even started the work if we don't have difficulties in the work. In principle I guess you're right, I don't know, we need to scrutinize you. Should I scrutinize it between you? Should do some spiritual work between you, out of which you discover whether you're even in it or not. We don't have thoughts, it's hard to connect that we are unsuccessful, and the desire to turn to the Creator for the friends. That means that there's no work. That means you don't have work. Yet is the difference nevertheless between keeping the Torah out of the darkness and keeping it out of the desire for light. There's a gap here, but I can't seem to grasp the gap between these two types of work. Try to keep the laws of connection between all the elements of creation. How much you're coming closer to keeping them. What does it mean? Means keeping it out of the darkness. Yes, out of whatever you have. Then you will also feel that you are in darkness, or maybe not in darkness, in light. Right. Turkish. Turkey. Good morning. Good morning. Fori. Thank you. Morning. The article talks about that the light of Torah gives a person a deficiency. The study of the Torah gives a person the deficiency, but we study in the 10 in the group. Even though I have a deficiency for it, what will change in my 10 with the work? I didn't understand it. If the study gives me deficiency, I acquire deficiency from the study. How does that influence my work, my group? I'm sorry, how does the deficiency that I received from the study influence the 10? You become incorporated with the 10, so the 10 becomes incorporated with your desire. Then all of the desires that are inside each and every one that are similar to your desire, they also awaken and they connect together, and then from one small deficiency it becomes the deficiency of everyone. This it's like in physics, in technology, where it's enough that you throw into water that has a lot of salt, for example, like a speck of dust, all the water starts to show the sand within them and they become key. Let's move on. Turk, how can I tell that I'm lacking the light of Torah, and accordingly how can I continue to work with the effort for the friends that you lack the light of Tu? Need to feel it from your heart. The heart feels that it licks. It wants to know what is it living for. Why is it living, in what state he is, and what is the state that he wants to applause reach. All of this is in the heart. In the state, how can it give additional efforts and ask, pray with the friends, yearn for him? We need to put in effort. P24. He writes in the article that after is rewarded with vessels of bestow, he discovers the secrets of Torah. What does it mean, secrets of Torah? There is the Torah and there is the secrets of the Torah. When we reach the Torah through labor, then we discover that in the Torah there is an additional part more hidden, which is called the secrets of the Torah. I don't have more to say about it. The meaning is a special light that's revealed there. Look, I don't know exactly. It doesn't say here, it says the secrets of Torah, that's it. Woman Latin. One woman Latin, one Latin. 1. How do we aim? How do we aim our deficiencies toward vessels of bestow and not vessels of reception? We connect together and we want to discover the vessels of pistil and what's in them. We want to discover what is in our vessels of pisto, that is all how to solve an ongoing conflict between the evil inclination and the need to do everything for the sake of heaven, because this thing can't pursue a person. How to solve this ongoing conflict between the evil inclination and the need to do everything for the sake of heaven, because it pursues every person. This state, this the 10 was given to us, the group in which we exist, and with it help we can emerge from our personal egoism, become more incorporated in the friends. Then you will see how much additional forces are revealed in you with which you can go forward. Thank you. How to reach a feeling of darkness as a result of lacking vessel of all. You need to feel that out of your efforts. What is it that you're lacking during the work we work with? What's revealed in the heart right now? Or we pray less for vessels of bestow. We pray for the vessels of pistil, for us to have such vessels. In the last part he writes the intention over the action, which is a revealed portion, meaning the ability to aim in the heart to work for the sake of the Creator. This is called work, as it is written, which God has created to do. Doing refers to the heart, so that men will have the strength to work, so the heart will want to work for the sake of the Creator. The question is, if action is the intention, then what is the action itself? This is something we will see later. It's still ahead of us how he talks about in the end. How do we make the heart want to do for the sake of heaven through exercises? When our heart begins to understand it without us having the intention for the sake of the Creator, it will not be filled with the Creator. Is the exercise where the heart doesn't want something, and then I do it nevertheless with the correct intention, even though he doesn't want it. Can that makes it want in the end? Yes. What does it mean to keep the 630 commandments in practice right now? Each 10 has the accent that the 10 decides that will advance. What is the 613? Well, we don't yet know what 613 means, but the fact that all of our desires will want to keep actions there in order to bestow, it's considered that we will keep 613 both amendments their way to check that every day we've added desires into the connection between us that we corrected. More, yes, it's exactly by increasing the connection between us. Women Latin 24 question from the 10. Do we receive the Torah in darkness so we can work on the deficiency and work with the intention to bestow and be like the Creator? Yes. P. To the end of the day, person cannot aim in order to bestow, as he writes at the end of the article. Since we see we cannot do actions of bestow without the light of to, yes, he needs the help of the Creator for it. Yes, so what is the difference between the intention and the prayer adhesion with the Creator? Just like with a child, we see that he depends on the mother and he wants to attach to her body and nothing else matters to him. It's the same with us. We need to reach a state where if we are adhere to the Creator, we are riding the horse as it is called, and the action of intention. What is it? This is an action of prayer. What kind of action is it? What is it? The action of intention is that I want to be in a state where I intend for him. So in practice, is that prayer? How does a Kabbalist do it? Could be as a prayer, it could be as an action. It doesn't matter. The most important is that I intend for a state of complete adder with the Creator. And is there a state where I aim for the state of adhesion, complete adhesion with the Creator, but I do not activate the prayer through that? No, I only think about it, speak about it. Then you become incorporated in this new deficiency out of which you pray to the Creator. You truly beg to him. He brings you to that state. Rush gave you the example about the intention when you were sorting the coffee beans. He said, well, I hope this coffee bean will give contentment to my teacher. The story you're telling us with this action, he has the intention. He prays over each and every coffee bean. Is there prayer constantly from below? Yes, for each and every coffee bean. Yes, so this action of the prayer is repetitive action to be locked onto this contentment, or a monologue of developing monologue of sorts. And your question is the action of the intention that a person keeps. You have to renew it all the time with each and every coffee being locked on this, knocking again and again on the contentment, this repetitive action. Yes, yes, you don't let go of it. It's like children. Sometimes we see that how much they are attached to something, and that's it. Thank you. We have so many. Kabbat Kabu 9. Thank you. The other article says I'm in one of the sentence, and I read which God has created to do. This means that all that the creatures must do is only to be able to aim to bestow. So the Creator has created the evil inclination, and he wants the creatures to aim to bestow, to bestow on the evil inclination. The question is, how do we do this? How do we rise up to the level or degree that as creatures we are able to build the vessels of bestow on the vessels of reception? Thank you. Through the reforming light, we demand from the Creator that he will bring us our force, so that with the help of this force from all of our egoistic vessels, we will be able to perform acts of bestow is called, and it shall be inverted. Thank you. Hypha free world CLE, the evasion which doesn't want to work for the Creator. This is something a person discovers on his own, or thanks to the group. Thanks to the group, because alone by yourself you cannot discover the evil inclination is truly evil. But sometimes one is mistaken about himself, because only the group can truly reveal it. Correct. What does it mean doing? Meaning the intention over the ACT which is revealed. Can you explain why? How is the intention revealed? To whom is it revealed? I don't understand. The intention can be revealed, so what is he? Asking could it be that the intention is revealed? We always think that the intention is concealed. The person doesn't quite know who his intention is. Who knows what the intention is? How come it's revealed? Now because it's revealed, don't grasp the question. The intention has to do with the revealed part or the concealed part. Can belong to both. So what is concealed if the intention is revealed? What is concealed? Intention can be revealed. The intention can be concealed. Okay. Second question, what is learning versus work or doing with respect to the 10? Is learning of what the 10 is doing, and doing all that action is a result of the learning when they go out and they carry out an action of connection between them, a new act of bestow toward the creator. All and one. Good morning, dear. To add to, let's say to this last answer and question on what is the let's say the emphasis of our study of Kabbalah. Is it more on the learning or more the emphasis on the doing, on the work, and why we have several actions in the wisdom of Kabbalah? First of all, it's together in the 10 during the study and during the action and in including the intentions. If we try to be together in all these actions, then we begin to feel how by that we are drawing the reforming light and it changes us. Where do we start? Mostly with the learning or with the work. There's almost no difference because that's how we do it. The part of the work, the part of the learning part of the ACT. Does learning bring one to doing? I can't tell. It's when the part of the learning is concluded and then you begin the action on top of it. What does that mean? The learning is done well. Everything works in portions. USA San Francisco. Of all our actions connections, are they rearranging? Suit is that the action again of you do our efforts towards connection between us. Reorganize the records. The remit. Yes. Certainly our attitude determines it. For thank you, Ra. How can I scrutinize or analyze if my intention is correct or not? By joining your friends and together with them, you're trying to incorporate in the Creator. Toronto 1. Woman. Thank you, dear. RNITT today did an attack and we used our prayer to focus on our prayer all day. And part of our prayer was to based on a lesson a couple days ago when we heard we need to suffer out of the need to do everything for the sake of the Creator or want to die if we can't do it. And there was a lot of gratitude felt in the work today as we focused on this prayer collectively. Just sort of gratitude for every little thing. Is this a sign of drawing the reforming light? Yes. You made some contact with him. Good morning to the whole world. Where does the exploration comes in here before the between the doing and the learning of the Torah? The investigation is ours. We wish to investigate where we are, from what state we're going to which state, what connection we have with the Creator compared to what we had before. What should we put the emphasis on when we do it between actions and a request? How close we are to the Creator. Only that. Woman. Farine. Spi foreign. 4e. Good morning. It says that the Torah was given. Out of the darkness we come to this work because we feel this world is the darkness. So after we come to the study why we don't yet have a desire to best. So we don't want to have a desire to view. We have from the beginning only a desire to receive. Rive. So there are to bestow something we need to attain through all kinds of tactics, and the more we get around it, turns out that we think we are chasing the desire to bestow, but in truth we wish to reach the desire to receive. Morning. Everyone. What exercises can help us to direct us towards the intention for the sake of the Creator? Only the connection between as you have a 10. Connect and aim to approach the Creator, and you'll feel how beneficial that is. Intention for the sake of the Creator. Over time it becomes permanent. We feel it all the time. Yes, morning dear teacher, you said that we connect together and we want to discover what is in our vessels of bestow. What is in our vessels of all? I don't know what we have in our vessels of bestow, but I hope that with the help of the upper light these vessels will begin to change and will reveal in them a desire to bestow, a desire to connect. Good morning, great. If all the actions that I do are in order to direct myself to the Creator, why do we work all the time to awaken others? I didn't get it. If everything that I do is in order to direct myself, my intention to the Creator, why do I constantly work towards others and I try to awaken them? They are not, these are not others. These are parts of your vessel. Since you cannot work on yourself directly, you turn to them and you seemingly influence them, but through them you are working on yourself. That's how it is. Free. It happened to me that we come to a state where there's no power to continue. I begin to speak badly of others, so they're not listening, they're not working together with me, and I start a process of really quitting the path. What can I do in such a state? Do until the end of correction. There are many such states where we are in a state where we don't know what to do, and in these states specifically we need to know how to cleave to the Creator, how to receive from Him the power. The reason there is no other way. We are growing old, we're growing weak, but along with that we are becoming more experienced, and in that we arrange our soul. It's not like we are changing physically or even intellectually or mentally. These are all external things. The main thing is that we arrange ourselves inside, internally in the soul. This is the eternal part in the person. That's it. That's how we advance. The expression which God has created to do is the most beautiful expression I ever heard in the work of the Creator. I want to thank you, Ra, for everything that you do for us, everything you did in order for us to discover the Torah. And I wish that your soul will be with us along the whole path together with all the friends. Thank you, Rov. I love you very much. We'll learn more and more. Continue, connect and reach the end of correction. Thank you. Good morning. The vessel of bestow. It's our desire that receives a desire to bestow. Yes, the intention to bestow. So the question is whether the vessel receives the desire, and the intention is the ability. Let's say we can say that. So what is intention? Intention is that through my action, regardless of the action, I wish to bestow to the friends, and through them to the Creator. Something could a desire to bestow, but without an intention. No desire without an intention. Only when somebody is mentally insane. So again, I'm trying to understand what is a vessel of pistol and what is an intention. Vessel of bestow is desire to receive, that acquired through the light, the ability to bestow. So that's already an ability. Yes, thank you, Ron. My friend is asking if the Torah is given from darkness and we can only bring it to light through the desire for unity. Am I responsible for correcting my friend's will to receive? In this process we are in a single vessel, all of us connected together, and there's no way to disconnect from one another. At the end of the day, this is a round vessel, meaning there's no difference between those who are closer to someone else or farther away. We're all equally distanced from each other, so everything depends on everyone. How much we can illuminate our friends, how much can we draw them toward corrections? Okay, MOS 1. I would like to continue the question of The friend from Italy 3 have a similar question. What is actually the problem? How can we determine where is the limit in the relationships between the friends when we have this concept of love of friends? But in my Ian, sometimes it becomes a kind of restriction. It doesn't matter what the friend did, what he said, we accept everything, and then there is another limit for this problem, another extremity where sometimes a friend says something which is harmful to our connection in the 10 in our society. So I don't know how to relate to it, because on the one hand, I'll give an example with a baby. There is a loved a baby, you love, you can't look at him, taking something sharp and putting it into his eyes, you're going to stop him, you're going to take it from his hand. But in our situation, if you want to say something, let him say it. Any such action by a friend is destructive to the connection between us. It simply disintegrates our society, because bad examples are our ego immediately absorbs it. It's very hard to be good, and when you see that a friend gives you a bad example, you feel that you can also be like that. So how do we place a limit here in between love of friends containing the friend accepting him as he is versus setting limits that will guard the connection between us? The important thing is to be open with the friends, not to hide anything other than what can create some harm right here and now, meaning my revealed, my exposed egoism that can harm us. But in principle, we have nothing to hide from one another. We must, on the we must show everyone how close we wish to be to one another. That's how it should be. But what if the whole 10 tells a certain friend that you're not right, that's not the way to behave, and the friend says, no, I think that I should behave this way, makes me lose my mind? No, if he's acting against the whole thing 10, then he has no room in the 10. There's no point in tolerating him. Thank you. Love, can we get forces and minds from the Creator to create the soul and not ask for us egoistically? Well, ask that way only that which you can with what you receive, to do as good for the benefit of the group, to connect between them even more. That's how you should act. Okay. About the practical that we do with our hands and legs, there's things we do on our path that we take more seriously, like the holiday Passover. We emphasize them more, and every so often you emphasize something specific in deeds. For instance, that we a little while ago we learned about not looking directly at women or reading the Shema prayer. So every so often you add something. My question is, can we in the practical commandments only go by the direction of our teacher, or can we know sometime what details or deeds we should do with our hands and legs that'll bring us closer to spirituality? We go through all kinds of advices from the Creator, and accordingly each time we get another dose of the reforming light. That's it. So that's how we will continue until it starts arranging itself in us more and more. I hope that we're already on the second half of the half, and soon we will start feeling practically how this is beneficial to us. Okay, what are we doing next? So we have the study of the and our observation, please. So let's sing a song. First send the 4. Let's sing as one, and we'll see how love will cover all the crimes as we night walk together from the darkness to the light. La 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 la. Let's sing as one, and we'll see how love will cover all the as we unite, walk together from the darkness to the light. Let's sing as one, and we see how love will cover all the as we unite, walk together from the darkness to the light. And we're reading from the study of the One Inner Observation, Chapter 6. We are in item 26. Yes, please. So the headline, all the worlds in the thought of creation called the light of, and what contains the rest there is called 26. It has already been explained regarding the end of the work is in the preliminary thought that it is a thought of creation which expanded from his in order to delight his creations. We have learned that in him the thought and the light are one and the same. It therefore follows that the light of that expanded from his contains the whole of reality before us through the end of the future correction, which is the end of the work in him. All the creations are already complete with all their perfection and joy that he wished to bestow upon them. This reality which is complete sufficiently is called the light of ins, and that which contains them is called mal. Again is filled with the light of what is that reality. All the receivers is full of the light of that's the eternal endless state. Or is it like a moment that happened and afterwards? It depends what we are talking about and where you're leading. It can be a completely permanent state, unchanging, and it can be frequently changing. I don't know what you intend. Hear what you mean. I don't know anything about it. I just won't understand how to relate to this, how to describe it to myself. We depict it to ourselves this way, that the desire to bestow to the Creator created the desire to delight, to enjoy in the created beings, and filled it with what the Creator wanted to give. And that's where everything starts. That's called the Mao of the world of ins. It's written that it's general of all receivers. So can we depicted that if all the Crete beings connect, they'll get the light of yes, of course, the desire of all the created beings that were created, and the desire to of the Creator to fill them are identical. What does it mean? All the receivers, the souls, and everyone now are more connected in animals and plants and all creation. Can we see that as connection? That's not taken into account. It has no importance whether it's still vegetative, animal, human nature. It is all. How can I tell you? This are just biological devices. We as a group, as what's our attitude towards the world of ins? We are in the center on the apex, depending on how you speak about of, and we are taking upon ourselves the revelation of the Creator in order to resemble him, in order to collect him within us, and to be collected within him. The sensation is completely different than what I thought in my thoughts. So what does it mean to do good to his created beings? I don't understand what you're saying. You said half of a thing in order to give joy to his created beings. The Creator doesn't want to receive from us, and my feeling when we read this is completely different than all my understanding of giving joy to his created beings. Can you explain it? The Creator wants to delight his created beings, meaning he created in them a desire and eventually wants to fill this desire until there's no place to fill it. Okay, I'll let it go. Sorry. How on one hand we the creature that the thought of creation is directed towards the develop from degree to degree. On the other hand we can ascend to a degree that we grab all of the thought of creation that we see from one end to the other. What's the problem? Either you're in the process or you can supposedly ascend above it. Both this and that is a certain state of adhesion, of connection with the Creator, something that is more exalted than the thought of creation because it's already something of the created being. The thought of creation is the highest and all the discernments are below it. Okay, please. Chapter 7, title of 27. Although only phase 4 was restricted, the light left the first 3 phases as Well, 27 it has already been explained that the middle point, which is the comprehensive point of the thought of creation, namely the will to enjoy in it, embellished itself to enhance its equivalence of form with the Minotaur, although there is no disparity of form in his Almightiness from the perspective of the Minotaur, the point of the desire felt it as a kind of indirect extension from his essence, as with the allegory about the rich man. For this reason she diminished her desire from the last phase, which is the complete good, the greatness of the world, to receive, to increase, the add by way of direct extension from his essence. Then the light was emptied from the entire place, meaning from all 4 degrees that exist in that place, even though she diminished her desire only from phase. For it is the nature of the spiritual that it is indivisible. Questions? None. Okay, maybe it's best if you read it again. 27 Although only phase 4 was restricted, the light left the first 3 phases as well. 27 It has already been explained that the middle point, which is the comprehensive point of the thought of creation, namely the will to enjoy, it embellished itself to enhance its equivalence of form with the Minotaur, although there is no disparity of form in his Almightiness from the perspective of the Minotaur, the point of the desire felt it as a kind of indirect extension from his essence, as was the allegory about the rich man. For this reason she diminished her desire from the last phase, which is the complete greatness of the world, to receive, to increase, the by way of direct extension from his essence. Then the light was emptied from the entire place, meaning from all 4 degrees that exist in the place, even though she diminished her desire only from phase. For it is the nature of the spiritual that is indivisible. Woman can't hear you. I wanted to ask, what does it mean? Decorated herself to resemble the Creator means that she didn't have a desire, a true desire that stems from her, from within her, rather only a sort of secondary desire to be adorned by it. That's what the meaning of this change in US PT woman. Women, good morning. Love the question is, and the previous excerpt that said that the expanding in from herself includes all of the development till the end of correction. Could we say that it is also in the thought of creation? All is in the thought of creation. Nothing new is appearing. So our goal, in other words, is to want to follow the Creator and those changes he wants to perform on us. And ask her, yes, you said it right. You said it nicely. Can you explain how it could be that your what's that your W to receive wants to be restricted, and that's not even greater W to receive? I don't understand how will to receive that wants can restrict itself. Where did it get the desire to restrict itself? No, it's exactly what you said. How does a desire to get restricted come? Meaning there's a greater desire than his desire to receive that he starts working with. So isn't that just a greater W to receive? That's the desire of the Creator. That's the desire of the Creator. Otherwise the desire to receive would not feel that it exists outside of the Creator. The restriction is an action that the Creator performs. I don't understand then who it's written that the emanated being wanted. How was it written here? You want it to decorate itself, meaning it's an action that comes from the created being. No, there's no such thing. Everything comes from the Creator. STS from the Creator. The emanated carries out these actions and then discovers that he has to restrict himself. Okay, P35. I just wanted to thank you that you started teaching us of the study of the T, because it adds a lot of internality and heart even though we don't understand it, and I wanted to Ask a true desire on behalf of the created being is what counsels the shame. When there's a true desire. Yes. Women Latin. 24. What does it mean? That even though it didn't diminish the desire, the spiritual natures, that it doesn't divide into parts. The desire to receive is all one, and even though there are different actions upon all of it, they're all impressed by all of them together. With your permission, it says here that although phase 4 was restricted, the light left her first 3 phases as well. So my question is, we learned that everything cascades gradually from 1 to 4, so what happens with the first 3 phases? They disappear. They don't disappear, they're sustaining the 4th phase, but they don't receive light anymore according to what's written here. They didn't receive light before either. The light just went through them, if you could say it that way, because they don't have the desire. So what cascades the light? Cascades, but it's cascading from the desire of the upper one, not from. In each place there's a desire that's drawing it, but if it comes from the upper desires, so what does phase 1 give to 2 to 3 to 4 till it comes to 4, which is the peak of development? It transfers the light, so it absorbs the bestow of the light, and here it says that she completely stopped receiving. So what happens then? Doesn't it directly go from the creator to 4 and bypass the first 3? No, there's just no desire there to draw it to. There's no desire to pull it. The desire to truly draw it is in the 4th phase, so there's no direct connection between the light and the desire in the process. No, not yet. Turkey to how can the W to receive perform the restriction on itself? The desire to receive decided to restrict itself when it sees that from the act of reception it enters into distancing and contradiction with the creator, but the to receive constantly demands something. So how can you restrict something that is constantly demanding? The fact that he's restricting himself opens for him the ability to even more reveal himself. Continuing, it's not so clear, 'cause in spirituality 4 phases exist in parallel, not like in our world that there was some phase that came first and then it disappeared. It doesn't disappear, but it beats a new discernment. Yeah, but in the first phase there was no difference between the light and vessel, so it turns out that if the light comes out, the vessel stops existing if I won't make efforts now in order to receive the light, so the desire itself disappears. Or no, you don't need to think in such a categorical manner. You don't need to. We will move now to the next, and then things will be explained better how to depict all 4 phases existing together in parallel. There's like the example of the meal before the creator. There's something gradual happening there. What does it mean that all 4 phases are at the same time? We cannot imagine that to ourselves. We cannot depict that, because then we lose the reason and the results. Okay, let's advance. 28. Headline: afterwards he re-extended a line of light from the first 3 phases, and phase 4 remained a vacant space. 28. Afterwards the light of her extended once more to the place that was emptied. It did not fill the entire place in all 4 phases, but only 3 phases, as was the desire of the point of restriction. Hence the middle point that has been restricted remained empty and hollow, since the light illuminated only through phase 4, but not all the way, and the light of in stopped there. We will henceforth explain the matter of the incorporation of the phases in one another applied in the upper worlds. Now you see that 4 phases are incorporated in one another in such a way that within phase 4 itself there are all 4 phases. To thus in phase 42 the light of Ins reached the first three phases in it, and only the last phase in phase 4 remained empty and without light. C. Lot. Questions: what is that state that light is drawn into the restricted area? That's what they can receive with that void or that space, like you're saying when the fourth phase is restricted. How can you depict it? I can't tell you. It's in the spiritual world, not in our world. He's depicting for you some similar thing like this or like that, but nevertheless to yourself, what does it mean? A line of light, a ray of light that moves from its upper source through all the discernments until the lowest discernment possible. That's what happens. Why does it go to the lowest degree if it's restricted? He writes to you that the fourth phase remains void. Nothing enters there. Who receives that line of light? The desire to receive that the Creator created draws to it, this ray of light that stems from the Creator, that's filled by it and passes this ray of light through it and works according to the rule that is between the light and the CLE. That happens selectively in the line. Well, of course there are laws according to which the light needs to be similar to the CLE and the CLE needs to be similar to the light, and only in such a case they feel that they're filled and impacts one another. Okay, let's progress. Why in one place we learn that the reason of restriction was the desire to be concealed, and a different time we learn that it's shame. If the desire to steal or hide isn't a need but shame is already equivalent, we will see that practically it's the same thing. Maybe you answered this already, but would you tell us again? It's a question from the 10. What's the difference between is it only? Is the difference only in the Creator's perception of mal? Is the mal of all T? What is he asking about it? And what's the difference? Is it the same thing? You could say it's the same thing. Yes, only that he means something else. The general mal. I don't know. USA San Francisco originate in this empty space, and by collecting upwards, complete the creation. Can, yes, we say that scrutinizing the intention starts from the restriction of phase 4, and that's towards the Creator, towards the emanator. All the work later on it's towards the emanated, but the emanator, but it's towards the created being, so he will aim himself that way. Can we say that it's the created being in that moment? How does it happen? Where does the intention start from? The intention certainly starts from the created being, where he wants to understand the extent in which he in the most precise manner comes closer to the Creator, so that defines the matter of reception that it receives from the Creator. Yes, woman B. 10. Can you explain what happens in phase 4? 'Cause there's like 3 parts inside that are filled and emptied, and only 1/4 remains empty all the time. Or what kind of process is this? It's from 0 to 70%, or from 0 to 100 and goes back to be 0. What's the problem with that face? For the problem is that it's the big desire to receive that wants to receive the complete light of ins in order to receive on one hand, and on the other hand works in the manner of in order to be still. And in this fourth phase, actually all the essence of it of creation is and is completed. What did the created being get an example on working with the line? Where did the being received the desire to work in a line? Know that whole style of working in the line. I don't understand what he's saying. In the 4 phases there's not an example, as much as I understand, on how to work with a line. Suddenly there's no reference. They've just started working in a completely different manner. That's from the restriction that's in the 4th phase that is restricted and doesn't want to receive anything for itself in order to receive, and decides that it's going to receive only in order to bestow. From that restriction onwards, we're already talking about the line until the restriction. It's clear what this creative work and working in a line were from. I don't know creatively work in a line with the screens to work in the line where she learns from the previous phases 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 how they work. The fourth phase, which receives the light from them, also receives this style reception and giving of the light. Can I ask to? Yes, first phase 4 from the first 3 is that it what draws the light, and it will never receive any light. Yes, let's hope that we will nevertheless understand this more. We're in chapter 8. Yes, chapter 8. Know well. Let's start chapter. Item 29 is called light and water. E is called upper water and milder, lower water. 29. Now we will explain the meaning of the 4 phases of cause and consequence necessary to complete the form of the will to receive. In the water conceived and begot darkness. There are 2 discernments in the light. In the first discernment is called light, which is, and the second discernment is called water, which is. The first discernment extends from above downward without any assistance from the lower one. The second discernment extends with the help of the lower one, hence the name water, for it is the nature of the light whose foundation is above, and the nature of the water whose foundation is below. There are also 2 discernments in the water itself, upper water by phase in the 4 phases, and lower water by phase 4 in the 4 phases. No question, so keep going. Explanation of the expansion of the light of N into the 4 phase in order to reveal the vessel which is the will to receive. Item 30. For this reason any expansion of the light of N consists of, since the light of N's, which is the root and the emanator, is called, and the light of the expansion itself is called, and this is the full measure of expansion of the light from above. From N's it has already been said that the will to receive is incorporated in every expansion of light from above. However, the form of the will to receive does not actually become apparent before the desire or awakens in the emanated being to extend more light than the measure of its expansion. Thus, because the will to receive is included as potential immediately in the light of the expansion, the light is compelled to bring the potential to actual. Consequently, the light awakens to extend additional abundance more than the measure of its expanse. From by this the wilder side appears in practice in that light, and acquires the form of innovation through a slight disparity of form, for by this it becomes darker than the light, since it grew coarser by the new form. Also this part which has become core is called. This is the meaning of I am mine, is that I am understanding. Mine is the strength. In truth, Bina is a part of meaning the actual light of expansion of Ins. However, because she increased her desire and drew more abundance than the measure of the expansion in her from In, so she thus acquired disparity of form and grew slightly coarser than the light. Thus she acquired her own name, which is the essence of the additional abundance that she extended from Ins by the power of the intensification of her desire, is called the light of all the upper water. This is because this light does not extend directly from like the light of, but through the assistance of the emanated being who intensified the desire. Hence it merits its own name to be called light of all water. Now you find that the consists of 3 discernments of light. The first discernment is the light of Bina itself, which is a part of the light Of the second is her growing coarser and the disparity of form in her, acquired by the intensification of the desire. The third discernment is the light of that came to her through her own extension from ins. However, this still does not complete the entire vessel of reception, since the essence of Bina is the light of which is very exalted, a direct expansion from the light of in, consequently only the root of the vessels of reception and the operator for the operation of the vessel appeared in Bina. Afterward that same light of that she extended through the power of her intensification extended from her once more, and some illumination of was added. The expansion of light of is called, or the light of expansion also increased its desire to extend a new abundance more than the measure of illumination in its expansion. From this expansion is also regarded as two phases, because the light of the expansion itself is called the or v, while the intensification in it is called. This is how we came by the 10 is the light of the expansion, from is the light of that intensified in order to increase abundance, but by which it grew coarser. Z, which consists of, is the light of with illumination of that expands from, and is the second intensification to add illumination of more than there is in. This is not simple for the beginners, but because there still are questions. Okay, thank you. The question connects the fact that I have not changed my essence and does not change, but we see that he's talking about upper waters and lower waters, and in the article we read yesterday that it will bring him closer to his will. There were questions about there needing to be the upper one to awaken so that the upper one will act. Yes, and I wanted to understand how this works out with these things. Actually is the upper one the upper waters, or what? Him he does not change, but still in our world we feel that we need to operate in order to activate the light. So how does this work out between things are like worlds in between, or how does this happen? The upper one is the upper one. That's that from it the light comes to us. They say that doesn't change is light of in, and from it emerges the light of. You can say it like that, and rubbish writes to us that if the lower ones don't operate, then the upper light does not come down. So how does that work out? If we're saying it's the upper light, so what, the upper doesn't lower the light? Or does he? The upper one lowers the light according to the ability of the lower one to receive the light and perform the desired action with it. Okay, let's hope the creator arranges this for us in the right way for us to scrutinize it. For sure the creator will organize everything, but we also have to come a bit closer, and what we have to do, which is what connection and prayer. Thank you. Okay, next do we have here Mako 1? Yes. Friends, why is there a necessity for additional overcoming towards the beings now, not just the second phase, but also why is the emphasis on that the reflected light has to be included of two parts? Where is that written? What do you? It's written that there's the second overcoming, that at first there was a cooning, and then that's B, and then another overcoming, which is that appears. What item? Can you at least say that? I am not following the text on the screen. Okay, I'll ask it differently. What eventually, after all, the reflected light is for the created being in order to implement the plan of creation. Yes, so this to several parts of the reflected light. Why does he describe to us that the reflected light was broken into several parts? How does that serve the created being in the future? Repeat again. The author is describing to us that the reflection light divides to two parts. It's made its complex. There's this first coring, then the second coring, but eventually this is all to delight the created beings. So why does he open this to us in such detail? Hear what he's trying to explain. Here we might discover it in 2000 pages. If you could simply explain this, ask briefly and concretely the thought of creation. The thought of the creator is to delight his creative beings. Correct. Here the reflected light is being divided to two parts. The first, coring the second, questioning in the continuation where the created beings are trying to receive the light. What does this add to the same extent that we can give light back to the creator? To that extent, we enjoy our actions when relating to him. I'll think about that. Thank you. There's something that seems opposite. On one hand, he says that there's each time an addition of abundance. On the other hand, it's like there's less and less light, so is there an addition of abundance, and on the other hand, less light. So what is the addition of abundance here if there's less light? Where's that written in item 30? It said there that each time that there's an addition of abundance, the light awakens to receive more abundance than it to increase the abundance, by which it goes down to less and less light but more abundance. It seems opposite. No, it's not opposite. See, still is awakening to be a more with less light. There's more bestow. Yes. 31 item 31. The four phases in the desire are the four letters which read item 31. This is the meaning of the four letters and the fall name the tip of the ud, meaning the operating force included in the thought of creation, which is to delight his creations, namely the vessel of K, and is meaning phase 1, which is the potential in the actual that is immediately contained in the light of expansion of the first, is meaning phase 2, regarded as the actualization of the potential, meaning the light that has grown coarser than V is, or meaning the expansion of light of that emerged through Bina. This is phase 3, the potential for revealing the operation. The bottom hey in it is meaning phase 4, the complete manifestation of the act in the vessels of reception that has intensified to extend more abundance than its measure of expansion from Bina. This completes the form of the will to receive and the light that clothes its vessel, being the will to receive, that is completed only in this fourth phase and not before. Now you can easily see that there is no light in the upper ones and lower on worlds that is not ranged under the four-letter name, being the four phases. Without it, the will to receive that should be in every light is incomplete, for this desire is the place and the measure of that light. Good. No. Well, question is about the previous one, but it leads to this one. All the actions are carried out in Bina. So my question is there an addition of light and coarseness below? Where does the will to receive have the ability to overcome it itself and to reject the light in order to create the light of like it's described here? That's in the actions of the upper. That's its nature of Bina. Already that's a nature of Bina, acts as part of the, because the being doesn't have Bina at this stage. Yeah, so it all comes from the upper in order to show us the way that we're supposed to go from below to upwards. No, we can say that is there something else is the will to receive have the ability to go into the there without the warning of the upper one? No, of course there isn't, but there is bestowed directly and indirectly, and that's why that of course what the lower one does, he only does it from bestow, whether direct or indirect, towards the upper one. There's nothing to do otherwise. He's not the creator, it's the created being. Yes, continuing that question, it actually leads to the light of that are created in such a way. Actually, it's what the creator created. Also, right, the lights of through rejection that are built in such a way Is that only by the upper system by judgment the parts of being that are operating? There, yes, thank you very much are. Woman. Why in every expansion of light the desire to receive has to go through the four phases until it reaches the disparity form. How will it change? Otherwise can't be that's going to change if it doesn't go through all the four phases, and that's a different letter already, not what was there before. And then he works in a new way. So actually this whole process is for the will to receive, so it will be able to have two discernments, light and CLE. Yes, thank you. Woman Latin. 24. Thank how does the wheel to seat that wants to bestow get corrected together with through prayer? I repeat, please, how does the desire to see that wants to bestow get corrected together with the through the prayer? How does the W receive? By changing through the upper light. It comes from the wall to receive to the W to bestow. Let her ask again. Maybe my question was when the 10 gather in praise, how is the will to receive corrected through this? When the 10 the will to receive is corrected through the meaning the forms of light that work on him and constantly receives a new form. One beings discern, is it attained as something whole that includes all the elements, or by its parts they attain it as something whole, something complete? It's a system that starts from the creator and ends at the depth of creation. How can you attain it as something whole? A desire that changes under the control of the creator. That's all we're learning about. We're learning about the desire that the creator created and how he is bestowing upon the desire until it comes to the best state. What does a C start the attainment of? How does that attainment begin? Attainment of begins when a Kabbalist melts into the dissolves in there. If I could say that, I don't even know how to say it. I'd like to express it emotionally somehow. When he understands that all of his attainment equalizes to dissolving into the have. What does it mean that he dissolves inside? That he understands that everything in him was created by the creator, that he got it from the creator, and in him there is nothing of himself. Okay, how does he develop? You saying that there's nothing of himself here, but the how later inside of that does he discover all this structure of development of the desire from the creator to the crete being? That's what the creator Shen, as much as he was created opposite of the light of the creator, and in those two ends he can attain all of creation. For the creator you don't need light and darkness, but for the created being, for man it's essential. Yeah, meaning all the intermediate states are development between him and the creator. Yep. Yes. Right. Okay, I especially like the way that lady with the red shirt from Turkey 8 understood me. How I don't know what her name is. Non, she absorbed what I said today. So friends, will end here. We have another meeting today. Right at noon we have a lesson, and then in the evening there's something you're going to go over the schedule in a second. Before that we have a report from Info. Mark, please. Mark. Shim, yes, hello to everyone. We joyously want to announce that tomorrow morning we're going back to study physically in the center. The runs in everyone is invited to come and sit together with RAV, and also this week we will also have meals on Friday, as we do the views meal on Friday after the morning lesson on Friday, and also on Saturday after the Saturday lesson that will have the morning meal. All the announcements went out today. Please follow it, and we've truly been privileged to come back to our center. Thank you everybody. Today's schedule: Monday at 10 the program something like that, and at noon the noon lesson with love we'll end with the song. Somewhere in the still of the night a whisper of love awakens. Inside somewhere in the dark there's a flame alight in our hearts guiding us through the pain years of chasing after the wind, but the treasures of life are hidden within. The answer will come down from above, ping all of the world in one vegan of love, and from our hearts we sing one song, all voices as one in the room of life, and from our hearts we sing one song, all voices as one in the hour of love. He rises with the sun from the silence came and calls everyone, night is here, we stand with one voice, time to give thanks, a time to rejoice, everything is we to see in the walls are no more between man me, together in this ocean of love, in the depths of the heart united as one. My hearts we sing one song, all voices as one in the rhythm of love, and from my hearts we sing with song, no voice